Listen to me. Right now, in this moment, if you're broken, if you're on your knees because of her, if the weight of what she said, what she did, or how she left is crushing your chest, you need to hear this. You gave her everything, didn't you? Your time, your energy, your loyalty, maybe even your future. And now you're left picking up the shattered pieces while she walks away without looking back. But this pain isn't your end. It's your beginning. Because real men are built in fire. And brother, you're burning right now. But what comes from fire? Steel, unbreakable, unshakable. That version of you, the one she didn't believe in, is the one who's going to rise from this. Don't chase her, chase greatness. Build your empire. Turn your silence into strategy. Turn your heartbreak into hunger. You don't get to quit. You don't get to fold. You are not the kind of man who dies in someone else's storm. You are the storm. Stand up, clench your fists, fix your crown, and remember, she might have walked away, but you're still standing. And as long as you're standing, you've already won. Pain is one of the most honest things you will ever feel. It doesn't lie. It doesn't pretend. When your chest is tight, your thoughts are racing, and your world feels like it's collapsing from the inside, that is real. That is pain at its purest form. And in that moment, most people want to run. They want to numb it, avoid it, distract themselves with temporary pleasure, or silence it with the lies of comfort. But not you. Not anymore. Because you're going to understand something today that can shift your entire existence. Pain is not punishment. It's potential. Pain is fuel. You don't get strong from smiles. You don't become unstoppable by being cozy. Greatness never comes from easy days. It comes from chaos, from struggle, from rejection, heartbreak, betrayal, and the fire that follows. That pain you're feeling right now, it's not here to destroy you. It's here to wake you up, to sharpen your focus, to ignite the part of you that's been sleeping. Your power, your will, your edge. When you feel pain, it means something mattered. It means you had the courage to care, the guts to give something your all. So don't waste it. Don't collapse. Transform. Think about every powerful man who ever made something of himself. You think they never bled? You think they never had a woman walk away from them, a dream fall apart, friends stab them in the back? No, they went through hell. But here's the difference. They didn't stay there. They used it. They channeled that heartbreak into discipline, that betrayal into ambition, that loneliness into a legacy. Pain has energy, pure, raw, uncontaminated energy, but it's neutral. It will destroy you if you let it, or it will fuel you if you command it. That choice is yours. Stop asking why me and start saying watch me. Stop replaying the past in your head and start creating a future so strong, so undeniable that even your pain starts to respect you. You don't need to text her. You don't need to scroll through her photos. You don't need to sit in the dark and listen to sad songs hoping she'll understand. What you need is to rise. You need to go to war with the weak version of yourself that pain is trying to keep trapped. You need to show your pain it picked the wrong man to mess with. You will lift heavier, you will think sharper, you will work longer, you will talk less, move smarter, and grow hungrier. Because from now on, pain isn't your enemy, it's your ally. You're not a victim. You're not some broken-hearted boy crying for someone who wouldn't bleed for you. You're a man, and your job is not to sit in your feelings, it's to use them as firewood and build an empire so vast, your past looks like a joke compared to your future. No one's coming to save you. She's not coming back. The world isn't going to slow down just because you're hurting. But if you stand up right now, take that pain and carry it with honor, everything changes. Pain teaches you who you really are. It reveals your weaknesses so you can fix them. It pushes you into isolation so you can sharpen your character. It exposes lies so you can build truth. And most of all, it burns the version of you that wasn't meant to last. That's how transformation works. You kill the man you were to become the man you were meant to be. So go ahead, feel it. Let the pain hit. Let it burn. But don't break. Channel it. Take that agony and forge yourself into something terrifyingly powerful. You don't run from pain. You grab it by the throat and you say thank you, because now you have a reason to grind harder, a reason to never settle, a reason to stop playing small. And that reason, the pain you thought would bury you, is the same force that will build the strongest version of you the world has ever seen. Because pain is fuel. And you're a goddamn machine. Start acting like it. There's a brutal moment, silent, personal, and deep. When someone you gave your heart to looks at you like you're not enough, it cuts you. It makes you question everything about yourself, your worth, your effort, your presence. Suddenly you start wondering, what did I do wrong? Was I too much? Not enough? And in that downward spiral, you start shrinking mentally, emotionally, spiritually, trying to fit into an idea of yourself that would have pleased them, that would have made them stay, that would have made them see your value. But here's the raw truth. You need a tattoo on your soul. Your value doesn't shrink just because someone failed to see it. Think about it. If a diamond is buried in the dirt, covered in dust and ignored, is it still a diamond? Absolutely. If a masterpiece hangs in a room where no one understands art, does it lose its brilliance? No. What your worth is not determined by the eyes of those who observe you. It's defined by what you are, what you carry, and what you survive. And the moment you give someone else the power to decide your value, you've already lost a part of yourself. There will be people in life who look at you and only see pieces. They'll see your flaws before your strengths, your wounds before your wisdom. They'll choose to focus on where you fall short rather than where you rise. And that's not a reflection of your failure. It's a mirror of their limitations. Some people don't have the capacity to see gold because they've only ever held dust. Some don't recognize loyalty because they're addicted to chaos. And some will walk away from something extraordinary because they're too damaged, too insecure, or too blind to see it for what it is. But none of that changes your essence. You do not become less because they failed to see more. You don't become weak because they called you strong and then crumbled when you needed them most. You don't become worthless because they couldn't handle your depth. You become wiser. You become more dangerous. Because now you've seen what happens when you put your value in someone else's hands, and you'll never do it again. Pain makes things clearer. It strips away the lies we tell ourselves about love, loyalty, and identity. When someone leaves you, betrays you, or overlooks you, it stings, but it also reveals the truth. They were not your mirror. They were your lesson. And the most powerful move you can make is to not let it change your view of yourself. That's strength. That's self-respect. That's high-level mental warfare. And it's what separates men who stay broken from those who rise unshakable. You want to win? Then never beg someone to see your worth. Never lower your standards just to be chosen. Never water yourself down to be digestible for someone who was never hungry for growth in the first place. The moment you compromise your value to gain affection, you lose both. And listen, there's a kind of peace that comes when you realize you don't need to be understood by everyone. You don't need to be chosen by those who can't recognize your heart. You only need to be solid with yourself, because once you know who you are, what you stand for, and what you bring to the table, you stop chasing people who can't even build the table of their own. So, if someone left you, overlooked you, replaced you, or made you feel invisible, good. That's your wake-up call. That's your moment to turn inward and rebuild, not for revenge, not for attention, but for power, for peace, for clarity. Your worth isn't found in their texts. It's not waiting in their apology. It's not tied to their return. It's been in you this whole time, quiet, unshaken, waiting for you to remember it. So rise, speak less, grind harder, heal in silence. And when the world asks what happened to you, just smile and say, I stopped letting blind people tell me what I'm worth. Because you were never the problem. They just weren't ready to handle the weight of who you are. And now it's time to become so strong, so locked in, so self-assured that even your absence feels like pressure. You're not shrinking anymore. You're evolving. And no one gets to dim your light just because they couldn't see it. She left. Maybe she didn't say why. Maybe she did, and the words are still echoing in your head. Maybe she found someone else. Maybe she just stopped caring. Or maybe she said you weren't enough. Whatever the reason, it hurt. It broke something inside you, and now you're here, staring at the wreckage, wondering how to rebuild. But before you take another step, hear this and hear it clearly. Don't rebuild for her. Rebuild for the man you're destined to be. This isn't about getting her back. This is about never needing her again. A lot of men, when they get hurt, when they get betrayed, when they get abandoned, they get desperate. They start going to the gym, chasing money, changing their image, grinding nonstop, not for themselves, but in the hope that she'll see it. That maybe, just maybe, she'll notice. That she'll regret what she did. That she'll come back. And let me tell you something. That's a weak foundation to build a legacy on. You don't become a man by seeking validation from someone who walked away when it mattered most. You become a man when you decide that no one, not her, not anyone, gets to define your worth but you. This journey you're about to take. It's not about proving her wrong. It's about proving yourself right. You're not building muscle, wealth, status, power, and peace so she'll miss you. You're building it so you'll never again question who the F you are. Because if you rebuild for her, your progress is fragile. It's dependent on her reaction. What happens if she doesn't care? What if she never looks back? You stop, do you fall apart again? That's not power. That's slavery to a ghost. But if you rebuild for you, for the man you know you can become, for the mission you were born to fulfill, then nothing can stop you. That man you're meant to be, he's not crying into his pillow every night hoping for closure. He's not checking her profile at 2 a.m. wondering if she's happier without him. He's not making moves out of pain. He's moving with purpose. He's focused, disciplined, dangerous. He's the kind of man who walks into a room and changes the temperature. He's not loud. He's undeniable. That's who you rebuild for. You rebuild for the man who doesn't need her anymore. The man who doesn't chase, but gets chased. The man who doesn't seek love out of desperation, but gives it out of abundance when he chooses to. It's time to stop trying to impress someone who couldn't even appreciate your loyalty. That's a losing game. Instead, impress yourself. Outwork the man you were yesterday. Make him embarrassed to even stand in your shadow. Use this pain, not to fantasize about revenge, but to fuel the transformation. Take that energy, that heartbreak, and inject it into your grind, your growth, your goals. Let her go, not because you stopped caring, but because you started caring about yourself more. Rebuilding for her means you're still holding on to hope. Rebuilding for yourself means you've let go and moved forward. And the truth is, most people who leave because they didn't see your vision. And that's fine. They weren't supposed to. Because when you become who you're meant to be, you'll look back and realize her leaving was the best thing that ever happened to you. It created space to rebuild, not for love, but for legacy. Don't let her be the reason you rise. Let the fire inside you be the reason. Let the man in the mirror be the reason. Let the future you, the one with unshakable discipline, clear direction, and ruthless focus, be the reason. That's who deserves the effort. That's who deserves the fight. So rebuild with intention, not to be seen, not to be desired, not to be wanted, but to become. Become the man who would never have begged, the man who commands respect with his presence alone, the man whose success makes silence louder than any closure ever could. Because in the end, it's not about who left. It's about who you become after they're gone. So don't rebuild for her. Rebuild for him, the man you were always meant to be. And when you become him, you won't need to say a word. The world will know. She'll know. And most importantly, you'll know. So now, here you are at the crossroads. Broken? Maybe. Shaken? Sure. But finished? Never. Because inside you, there's something waiting to rise. Something stronger than the pain, louder than the silence she left behind. You don't rebuild to show her what she lost. You rebuild so you never feel lost again. You rebuild for the man who walks into rooms with purpose, not pain. For the man who wakes up every day chasing discipline, not validation. For the man who no longer looks back. Because what's ahead is far greater than anything he left behind. Every rep in the gym, every late night grind, every lonely moment where you choose growth instead of weakness, it's building him. Not the version of you she remembers, but the version you were born to become. So hold your head up, wipe the tears, stand tall. This isn't a comeback story for her to watch. This is your origin story. A future king doesn't rebuild his throne to impress the one who walked out of his castle. He rebuilds it for the empire he's about to rule. Don't rebuild for her. Rebuild for the man you're destined to be. And when you become him, you'll never have to chase anything again.